Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
Everybody, welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. This is Andrew Colvett, executive producer of this show, and that empty chair reminds us of Charlie's legacy, his memory, and the fact that political violence took his life. An assassination did, and this morning we awoke to more news of political violence targeted at ICE in Texas. And to start off the show, and we had a whole show planned, but I thought it was important that we do this. Simply, it hits very close to home for this team, I can tell you. And so I wanted to have Border Czar Tom Homan kick off the top of the show with us. Border Czar Homan, thank you for joining us. What can you tell us about what happened in Texas?
Well, this morning, a lone gunman was targeting an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas. It's where aliens are processed, either for removal or transfer to a facility. Again, it's the third shooting that's occurred in Texas against immigration officials. And we had a shooter show up at a Border Patrol facility and open fire trying to kill Border Patrol agents. He was killed by agents. Then we had a group of people show up with weapons at an ICE detention facility in Alvarado, Texas, and tried to kill ICE agents. And they did shoot one officer, a local police officer, who was also responding to the scene. And now we have this today where a lone gunman stood at perch and opened up on ICE during a transportation transfer. And we know we have at least 2 dead, and officers are uninjured. And it later was announced by Cash Patel that one of the bullets had an anti-ICE slogan on the bullet. So this is clearly a targeted attack against ICE.
Well, Border Czar, I just know that Charlie, this is his show, he was such a supporter of yours and was worried for our brave men and women in law enforcement that were doing what the voters had voted for, very, very clearly, to remove illegal aliens from this country. And we've seen these stats that the targetings are on the increase, that assaults against ICE officers. Are we still seeing a ramp up? I mean, this instance is awful. Thank God no law enforcement were harmed or injured, but, you know, our prayers are with the families of the detainees that have lost their lives. But are we seeing this continue to ramp up across the country? Are we still seeing it go up? Are we seeing any calming down of the violence and the attacks against ICE officers?
First of all, you're right. I had many discussions with Charlie, and he always ended the discussion to be safe, and that ICE officers should be safe, because the rhetoric has continued to increase. Assaults on ICE officers are up over 1,000%. And no, the rhetoric hasn't stopped. And I said months ago, that if the hateful rhetoric didn't decrease, it's going to end in bloodshed. Someone's going to die. And of course, I was called a fearmonger. The left says I was, making irresponsible comments. Unfortunately, I was right. And just this past weekend, we saw protests turn criminal in Chicago and in Boston. I mean, in Chicago, the ICE facility is under attack. In Portland, Oregon, the ICE facility there has been under attack for months. So, no, it has not slowed down. Either has the hateful rhetoric from some up on Hill, some are congressional representatives, and other people who are in a position where that small fraction, I would say on the left, not everybody on the left is a bad person. Most of them, aren't. But there's that fraction that listens to this rhetoric, and they feel empowered to take action against ICE. If you got a member of Congress comparing ICE to the secret police, which is a direct affiliation with the Nazis, or calling straight out Nazis to terrorists, or Governor Newsom just recently said the secret police. I mean, he just passed legislation about secret police. I mean, bottom line is that rhetoric is causing some of this violence. I've been calling for people to stop the hateful rhetoric, because it's more are going to be hurt. And matter of fact, when we talked about the person that was shot at the Alvarado City, and we talked about the gunman that was killed at a Border Patrol facility, I said at that time, there's going to be more. if the rhetoric doesn't stop. I've seen this game before. I've seen this story before, and I just hate to see it right now. I hope, between what, happened to our officers across the country, what happened to Charlie, and what's happened today. I mean, at what point do people just, stop the hate? You can disagree with what ICE does, but taking those sort of actions, it's unbelievable. There's no excuse for it.
I want to show you a graphic. I'm going to put up a graphic. It's basically which groups justify violence based on age and political affiliation. If you could put up 141, this is the question: is it ever justified for citizens to resort to violence in order to achieve political goals? And this is the percentage responding yes. And you can see there, Tom, at 18 to 39-year-old liberal progressives, that's 30% believe that sometimes violence is justified to achieve a political goal. And I believe, that matches with what happened to Charlie. I don't know the age of this particular shooter in Texas, but we are seeing an alarming rise. And by the way, it's worth noting conservatives 18 to 39 are the most peaceful node on there besides moderates over 60. So we're doing our part on the right to quell the violence, to quell the rhetoric, to say, lean into Jesus, do not give in to hate, forgive your enemies. We have to find a solution here. And yet that one node, you can see it sticks out like a sore thumb there, Tom. 18 to 39, 30% of them believes violence can be justified. Your thoughts?
Well, it's not the country I grew up in. I mean, you never heard of this. When I went to college, you never heard of kind of this. It's justification for violence, ever. I really think that, many of the colleges have failed us. And also think that the negative publicity being pushed by 90% of the media, 90% of the media, constantly attacking this administration and the work we're doing. And I've said it before, I think there's groups out there that hate President Trump more than they love their communities, or more than they, have any common sense. There's no reason for it. I mean, it's out of control. And you're right. The last 4 years under the Biden administration, everybody was angry about the border. Everybody was angry about the number of Americans dying from fentanyl, the vast increase in sex trafficking, the cartels having placement in this country, killing millions of Americans with poison. You didn't see that counter protest that turned criminal. No. So it's mainly on one side, and again, I'm hoping today, on top of everything that's happened in the last few months, just let's stop the hate. Well, let's have a meaningful debate, which Charlie was all supportive. Let's have a debate about the issues. Let's get back to talking.
Yep.
Rather than putting bullets in a firearm.
Tom, I want to make this personal. About 1 minute remaining. I know that this kind of rhetoric has directly impacted your life and your family. If whatever details you can share, I want the audience to know what the real impact is for real people like yourself. 1 minute.
I have a 24/7 security detail because of threats against me. I don't live with my family because I don't want them around danger as much as I can. So, it's tough, but I'm not going away. I'm not shutting up. I'm going to continue fighting to make this country great again. President Trump made a promise to American people. He brought me to help him in that promise to make America safe again. And we're going to continue working to remove the worst of the worst illegal aliens from this country to make our community safer. Hard stop.
Well, God bless you, sir. Thank you for joining the show. I thought it was important to lead with that. And on behalf of a grateful nation, Tom, thank you for your service. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your voice. And thank you for the results, because this is what the American people voted for. And we will not be deterred. The truth will be the truth. And we cannot be cowed by these vigilantes. And we got to do something about it, but we will not be cowed. Tom Homan, thank you so much. Borders are for the Trump administration.
Thank you, sir.
More when we get back from break. We'll be right back.